In this video, I'm going to answer the question, what is an exception report? Exception reports are issued when something exceptional happens, an exception, and they document the incident, what it means, and what we can do about it. And an exception is something that is going to cause a deviation in the project's cost, or schedule, or scope, or quality that runs beyond the tolerance levels that have been agreed either between the project manager and your project board or steering group, or between your project governance layer and the wider organisation. Exceptions also include incidents like health and safety incidents that need to be dealt with. Exception reports are prepared by the project manager, and they will typically go to your sponsor, to your boss, to your client or customer, or to the governance tier like a program board or a steering committee. Critically though, time is of the essence. If an exception occurs, your first response shouldn't be to start writing a report. It should be to take action, to investigate the exception, understand it in detail, and start to put in place the actions which are going to stabilise the situation so it doesn't get worse. Only once the situation is stable do you start to write an exception report. And of course, if you need the support or the guidance or some authority from a client or a sponsor or a steering group, then you're not going to write an exception report and send it to them. You're going to turn up at their desk or send them an email or make a phone call. The more immediate your response is, the more successful you will be as a project manager. It's only once things are stable that you write your exception report and you take it through the formal governance processes. So what needs to be in your exception report? Well, a standard exception report is likely to contain 4 critical elements. First is a summary of the incident, the exception. Second is your assessment of the implications. You've said what's happened, now what does that mean? What are the likely ways that this could play out? This might include a scenario analysis, or it might be a simple one-point implication. The third part of your exception report needs to contain your analysis of the options that are open to the project to deal with the exception. And finally, fourth, is your recommendation for which option or which combination of options you're going to apply to deal with the exception. Once you've created that exception report and it is gone to the governance tier, they will assess it, they may ask you questions, and then they need to make a decision based on your recommendation, which may of course be to accept your recommendation or to reject it and to request you do something different. It's the documentation of that discussion and decision that creates the full audit trail to show that the project organisation has handled the exception in an appropriate manner. And exception reporting can be handled in a number of different ways. Of course, you can create a document which you can either send to someone or print off and give to them. You could do it simply by email, or the exception report could live within your project management information system, drawing upon data from within that system. And of course, your exception report could also be a formal presentation at a meeting, which is recorded as part of the meeting minutes. The purpose of an exception report is to generate a decision, and a robust decision at that. A robust decision is a good decision that conforms with 4 criteria. First, it needs to be informed by good evidence and data, and that's a fundamental aspect of your exception report. Second, it needs to be considered and discussed by the right group of people, with the right level of knowledge and background and experience, and also organisational authority. Third, in the case of an exception report, the decision needs to be made promptly. typically the longer you wait, the harder it will be to fix, even if the situation has been stabilised and things aren't getting worse, which of course may not be wholly possible. And finally, for good governance, the decision needs to be fully documented and recorded for the audit trail. So, an exception report is a document of record that is designed to generate a robust decision. But critically, should something go wrong in your project, your first step is not to write your exception report, but to deal with the incident promptly and effectively, and then to put it on record and to request a decision from your steering group or your sponsor or your client that will help you to remedy the situation going forward. Please do give this video a like if you've enjoyed it or if you've learned from it. I'll be creating loads more great project management videos for you, so please do subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of them. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.